Hello guys, the exam fever is on for main examination this year, which has to start from 16 September and less than 2 months time left. But from my experience, what help is possible, I am extending. And this video in that attempt, it is the part of the series for writing the answers, the beauty that you need to inject while writing the answers, and what all dimensions you can think. What is the science of writing the answers we have to discuss. And single word importance in the question given in the main stage, I have to discuss. The word given in last of the question sometimes is also called as tailenders, right? Tail plus enders. Say for example, you might have heard the word like discuss. You might have heard the word justify. You must be seeing daily example, illustrations, substantiate, identify, review, elucidate, explicate, and many more. We will be discussing them in detail. First, the question is that do these words really play a vital role in changing the entire answer for the same sentence in the question? Say for example, there is a question that India is not performing well in globalized era. Comment. And the same sentence is using the Tailender, analyze, or discuss then, or substantiate this statement. Every answer is different. Now, many of the seniors are there, and I can talk about some of the serious things because they are the evaluators also. And I asked that क्या ऐसा होता है वास्तव में जब हम लोग टेस्ट सीरीज चेक कर रहे होते हैं एज अ टीचर, एज अ फैकल्टी, तो वास्तव में ये वर्ड्स बहुत मैटर कर जाते हैं. मैंने खुद से जब टेस्ट सीरीज चेक की तो मैंने शायद एक या दो बार उन क्वेश्चंस को देखा होगा, फिर वो मेरे को सारे के सारे जो आंसर्स हैं जो बार बार हर स्टूडेंट के चेक करने पड़ रहे हैं वो मुझे लगभग याद से हो गए. एंड आई वॉज इन टू द डिफरेंट जोन दैट मेरा उस आंसर के साथ में कनेक्ट बन पा रहा है या नहीं, मैं उसे कितना इजीली समझ पा रहा हूं, मुझे कितना अच्छा लग रहा है, irrespective of anything, right? This was the main equation between me and the answer written by an individual. Basically, two minds are talking because mind has been used while writing the answer and it has reached me or the evaluator, and I am then putting my mind in comprehending what this person is saying through this medium which is called as answer. So when interaction is very receptive in nature, काम बन जाता है, मार्क्स मिल जाते हैं, राइट? बट व्हेन थिंग्स आर अदरवाइज फाउंड देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम. ओके, बट ऑल्सो द स्टोरी, द इक्वेशन इज नॉट सेम फॉर एवरी आंसर. फॉर सम ऑफ द आंसर द इंप्रेशन इज वेरी गुड, बट फॉर सम ऑफ अदर आंसर्स विच आर नॉट known to the candidate or average he is or she is, then maybe the equation is average and the numbers are also average. Okay, but now we have to discuss about the tailenders. But when writing the answer is there as the business and you have to see the sentence and then you know something about it and you start writing, and what you all have: introduction, description, conclusion, negative, positive, the standard format of paragraphic answers, or you have the bullet points for the answers. But all in all, please do not forget about the demand of the question. So if we need to discuss it, what we can do, that we can categorize the nature of the question asked in the main examination. So they can be direct and they can be indirect. Indirect questions are more subjective in nature, whereas direct questions are more objective in nature. For example, enumerate the reasons for the debacle in in democracy practiced in the world, especially in some other countries, not in India, right? So you have to enumerate. Enumerate means you have to enumerate the points, and in terms of their evaluation, you have to add one sentence. And these questions are prominently belonging to GS paper 1 and GS paper 3. In GS paper 1, history, art and culture, geography question, Indian society, these are all found. GS3, science and tech, economy, you will be seeing the. And when you talk about the subjective one, the indirect questions category, nature wise, so GS paper 2 and GS paper 4. GS paper 2 is including polity, governance, social justice, IR, whereas in GS paper 4 you will be finding ethics and case studies. And in this, there is a category called as case study. Right? We'll be discussing it separately as part of the nature of the question. As if you have put in a condition and you have been asked that what will you be doing. This is a totally different nature of the question. Now, when we talk about the latest pattern in UPSC, the last year 2021, we have to look at the tailenders that have been used by UPSC. Say for example, the discuss word as tailender was found in most of the questions, right? More than 17 times. So if I tell you about the questions in 2021, so I have just marked these tailenders. Say for example, evaluate the nature, right? This is paper 1. Trace the rise and growth of socio-religious reform. There is a sentence, we are not going into the meaning of the sentence. The third word is assess the main administrative issue. Here assess is the tailender, here trace is the tailender, here evaluate is the tailender. Then assess, differentiate the causes. We'll have to understand that if in place of differentiate, distinguish word might have been used here, what could have been the implication in the answer? Okay. Then here discuss again. Then what are the environmental implications? So here what an implication word has to be focused upon to fulfill the demand of the question. You can very well write in the answer also, because the question is demanding, so you are writing so as to making the examiner or evaluator recall that this question is particularly about it. So this is one of the merit from the student side, the aspirant side, the writer side, that you are able to make the examiner on board what you want to say. Okay. Now there is another word, mention, then impact. So mention the global occurrence of volcanic eruption in 2021 and their impact. So it might have been not impact, but overall thing that what are the implications on the environment, what are the implications on society, and what all happened there. Okay. So they have categorically used impact word. So these words are also telling you that while reading or while studying one particular topic, what all dimensions you have to see. Okay, impact may be there, consequence may be there, vulnerability may be there, right? So cause and effect can also be written as part of the question. Then why word has been used here, examine, to what extent, right? Again, bring out, throw light upon. So these all are tailenders. This PDF I will be uploading on Google Drive, and the link I will be putting in the description of this YouTube video. If you want to download it, the open file, you can. Okay. Now, then briefly mention how do, explain. These all are tailenders. Now, if I have to tell you about the fact, this is the extra exercise that I have done, that how many words were there in 2021 or earlier, and what all possible tailenders you may find in your exam in 2022 or in 2023. So say for example, what word was used 27 times. It is just something that you must know while developing the science of writing the answer. How word was used 20 times. Discuss word was used 14 times. We will have to make the difference between discuss, analyze, identify, elucidate. We will be coming to that shortly. Then explain word was also used for 12 times. It is in 2021 May. Okay. Then critically critically analyze, right? Critically evaluate. So many, it can be used as prefix for some of the suffix word. So critical word was used for 7 times. Now this is another question, that what is the difference between comment and critical evaluation or critically analyze? We have to see that. And there was another word, justify. It was used for 5 times. And analyze word was used 6 times, right? And along with them, these are the prefix. Some of the particular words that has to be focused upon in the questions, these were challenges. So this was used 6 times. Impact 7 times. I did not do anything, but I had all the papers, GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4 in MS Word format, and then highlighted the tailenders. And what did I do? That I just used the command Control plus F, and I particularly entered the word discuss. So it was telling the number. So that way I just wanted to share that what all words as tailenders have been used in the exam. Okay. Now impact has been used 7 times. Now consequence 1 time, and implications 3 times, vulnerability cause and effect, right? Even the outcome word was used, right? So apart from these prominent word, the other words that have been used are enumerate, then distinguish, then identify, mention, review, throw light upon, highlight, clarify, right? Give argument in favor or against, favor or against, right? Even elucidate, right? So these all questions have been asked, means the tailenders have been used in the question, I mean to say. Now, these words are not sounding very profound to you, that what is the matter of discussion here. But please ask the student who was falling short of 1 mark or 2 mark in the end because of main, he could not get final selection. In interview, he had the marks or she had the marks. When you are very close to the success and even single number might have changed your life in negative sense, then only you realize about this thing. But if since beginning we are ready for anything, any eventuality in the battle or in the exam, then things are little easier for us. You might have heard about Michael Phelps, who has won most of the medals, many medals in the Olympics. Why? Because as swimmer, not only his breathing is good, his art is good, his talent is good, but also the physiology, that his wingspan from this term to this end is more than his perpendicular length, the height of that person. So sometimes small things, little things can play very vital role. Now, these tailenders, when I talk in detail, so for example, if the question is using explain, word, or the question is using describe, there may be elucidate word, then there may be another category, example, there may be illustration, there may be substantiate, then there can be another category, differentiate, and distinguish. Then evaluate, analyze, discuss, identify, right? So these all major problems that I found in the students in understanding the demand of the question, I just wanted to discuss. So if we talk about the explain and describe and elucidate, the difference between these two, especially when we have been talked about explanation. So say for example, explain the strategy for UPSC exam preparation. This is a question. And instead, there is another question that describe the process of the UPSC exam preparation. Both the questions are different. In explanation, we are talking about why and how. It is more qualitative in nature. Whereas in description, we are talking about what, where, how, when. It is more quantitative in nature. When we talk about describe the process of UPSC exam preparation, then in the description, it will be coming that there are 3 stages: prelims, main, interview. You have to work hard for 1 year or 2 years time. 21 is the age after the graduation or graduation appearing, or the even the optional you can take, which is of graduation honors, the number of optionals, the kind of categories like SC, ST, OBC, EWS, everything. So this is what description. This is the process of the UPSC civil service exam preparation. When we talk about the explanation, that explain the process of UPSC exam preparation. So what will you be explaining? That why the prelims is there, why the main is there, why the interview is there, why interview is there as personality test, why group discussion is not there. So if we say that description is supraset, explanation is superset. So description is found within explanation. Explanation is this. I can write it like this. This is description and this is explanation. And elucidate is furthermore when we talk about elucidate, we are not only explaining, we are also interconnecting the other exams, the other phases, other reforms that we have taken so far in the UPSC exam preparation. So these words may not be that noticeable, but for a smart student, these words matter a lot to fulfill the demand of the question. When we talk about example and illustration, what is the difference between these two? If we talk about the example in UPSC, say for example, what is government job? Give an example. UPSC civil service exam, NDA, CDS, railway, SCRA, postal jobs. These all are government job. This is the example. But when we talk about illustrations, so illustrate government job or illustrate something about the government job, then what will you be saying? You will be telling that public distribution system is something belonging to the government, and herein the person who is looking after it as part of the government job, maybe as part of the contract, but it is a stable contract, not that very dynamic like the private sector job. So illustration in other sense, if we say that what is kinetic energy, so I will be saying that a moving ball is reflecting kinetic energy in it. But if a student is asking that please illustrate it, then I will be taking a ball and I will be throwing it. I will be showing that this ball is having kinetic energy. So this is illustration. Example is nothing but, illustration is nothing but setting an example into the process or into the practicality. So practical example may also be called as illustration. Substantiation or substantiate means whatever sentence, whatever statement you are giving, you have to give example or you have to illustrate it to justify that sentence. So substantiation means simply you are backing your statement by some of the live examples. So if I say that democracy in India today is thriving, right? Some other from other quarters, there may also be a thing that democracy is a debacle here in India. So there are for and against group, but we have to substantiate. In group discussion, this substantiation is playing a vital role, I'm saying this. So when in the question as a tailender, if you're finding substantiate your statement or whatever the question sentence is, means the examiner is asking you to just justify the statement given in the question. But justification is coming from the examples, from the illustration, not from the other corrections. Now, coming to the differentiate and distinguish. Differentiation simply may be depicted as the table and you have the differences. Say for example, what is the difference between monarchy and democracy? So you can make a table, you can write monarchy here, you can write democracy here. Here rule of law is found, okay, whereas here rulers are found, okay. Here rex lex is there, here lex rex is there. Rex lex means the king is law, whereas lex rex means law is the king. Okay, राजा का बेटा राजा नहीं होगा, जबकि यहाँ पर राजा का बेटा राजा नहीं होगा, कानून राजा होगा, जबकि यहाँ पे राजा कानून होगा. So this is some example I am just telling you. This is differentiation. But when we talk about distinguish, it means the demand of the question is that you have to give uniqueness of some statement. Whatever the sentence is, what is so distinct about it? In your school, you might have found distinction before beyond 75 or equal to 75 marks. You have the distinctions. So there is a D placed, right? So distinction simply means distinguished. So distinguished jurist, you are a distinguished personality for your good deeds, for some of the things that you have done in your life. So whatever the thing, say for example, democracy in India is a success. Distinguish this statement in today's time. So you will be telling that in all the indices and the index for health, for education, we have these many improvements in public distribution system, in case of electrifying the villages, for the road connectivity, we have done a lot, right? So corruption is down, and what is and what not, you can say. So distinguished achievements of the government you have to highlight. But when you have been asked about the differentiate between two of the concept like private sector job and government sector job, you can make the table, or you can have the paragraphic approach, or you can have the bullet points. In one point you have the comparison for the two. Okay, so there is another question can also be there. So say for example, they can ask about the compare, right? Compare word can also be there. So when we talk about comparison, comparison may include similarity also, and may include the differentiation both. So comparison is bigger point, differentiation is sometimes subset of comparison. So you have to understand the science of the tailender, the science of the word for the question, entire context sometimes is different. And if we talk about evaluate and analyze, evaluate and analyze, evaluation simply means that you have to see the performance, you have to see the presentation, you have to see or you have to check the writing of something, you have to give marks, you have to give a number, you have to simply judge the performance. Evaluation. Your copy will be going to the evaluator, the examiner. When you are selected, you are an officer, you will be evaluated, and that evaluation will be called as assessment. This is another word, assess. Assess the role of this scheme, of this policy of the government. So annual appraisal report. So appraisal and assessment is sometimes close, very close words. So evaluation is nothing but judging someone's performance. Whereas analysis is more qualitative in nature. You are analyzing the performance and you are reading between the lines, not the lines as such that have been the part that were the part of evaluation. You are reading between the lines and you are finding a scope that what all other connections could be made in addition to whatever has been presented. So the analysis is telling the forward linkage or the backward linkage of what is there in the present. So say for example, in the question, the question is there, say for example, that history is playing the vital role in shaping the future. Analyze this statement. And history is playing a vital role in shaping the future, evaluate this statement. Both the questions are different because of one word, tailenders. Answer will be totally different. You can just have the practical. When you talk about analysis, you will be telling whatever has been done in the past is showing that what can be the next after the present. In international relation scenario, in past, the relationship with a particular country like Russia was by and large friendly. But when we talk about other country like US, other country like Sri Lanka, other country like Pakistan, relationship is quite strange, is different. So analysis is filling the gap. Analysis is telling you that this thing is something in between, that you cannot read it on the face, on the page also, but you can have the meaning in. So implicit things are explicit when you analyze something. When we talk about discuss and identify, when the group discussion is taking place, so discuss word I am taking from that word. In group discussion, what happens? Many of the people are telling 2-3 points. Other group of people are telling 2-3 different points. Then other group is telling some other points. Some are in favor, some are in against, and there is a conclusion in the last. So brainstorming session is also there. When this word is used as a tailender in the question, you need to discuss as if there is a live discourse and dialogue between you and the examiner, right? You have to tell about the nitty-gritty of the statement. You have to discuss as if this thing, if might have not been done, this should have been the better way. You can give the suggestion also, you can give the prescription also in discussion. But when we talk about identify, you have to identify the government role in some of the policies. If the question is there, for example, you have to identify your role in the government service. If the question is there that government service as an IAS or as a bureaucrat is taking a back seat in comparison to the private sector, you have to identify why. Because corruption is more, yes or no, or the payment is less, the untimely postings are there more, which are causing instability in bureaucrats' life, right? Today capitalist era is thriving, so private sector is booming. The package of the private sector employee is more in comparison to a bureaucrat. Powers are not that much reflective in nature, but these are found substantially good in nature, right, in the private sector. So you have to identify, you have to sometimes enumerate also as part of the subset of identification process in the exam, right? So this is the broad crude comparison. If I need to talk in addition to this, what all things you can do as part of the exercise when you are talking about the tailender word, whatever topic you are writing, or before writing you are reading a particular topic, just please ask yourself that, say for example, I am reading about ASHA, accredited social health activist, that this body or this concept has been declared by United Nations as the global leader, health leaders. So this can also be there. So what is ASHA? Why in news? Why UPSC can ask this question? Give example, illustrate, justify, differentiate the ASHA workers and ANM, that auxiliary nurse wife, midwife, right? So when you are differentiating, then distinguish ASHA also. And if you are having distinguished word as a tailender, how the answer is different? It will take 10 minutes more for a particular topic. If you are asking the question from you only while while reading a particular topic, believe me, this will be very illuminated. You will be having more and more hidden pictures in your within your mind, and the connections made immediately you have to jot it down on paper. Immediately write them on paper. And as part of revision, please write very clearly, beautifully, so that before the examination hall, you need to revise these all bullet points. These are the connections that you have made while reading the topic. You can just reproduce them, and timely retrieval is also very important. So this is the message out of this video. I hope that the video about the Tailender must be giving some contribution while developing the science behind writing a very good answer that can fetch, you can say, very comfortable marks to get you in top 50 or top 100. So please wait for another video or another dimension for writing the answers this year also, and then next year, and next year for your so-called juniors, not you. You must be getting success this time. So thank you for being with me. Till next video, Jai Hind.